Okay, so this is part 3 of relationships from a Buddhist point of view. So, and by the way, if you're wondering what's going on with the with driving, I'm kind of just doing this video, these past 2 videos at least, from my way home, and I kind of thought that you guys could just kind of take a little drive with me as I talk about this subject. So, as I was saying in the last video, this is something that, from my own point of view, that it's not really the deciding factor that you have to be a Buddhist, or if you are a Buddhist, or if you're from any religion, that you have to absolutely must be with someone from another religion. I mean, from the same religion as yourself, or the same philosophy, or the same lifestyle, or whatever. Excuse me. So, the reason for this, in my opinion, is because ultimately, now some people, I understand, meet each other at church, and some people meet each other in various places that have anything to do with their religious faith and their wherever they might go. You meet people in all kinds of places, and sometimes, like I said, if just from a religious aspect of it, sometimes people end up meeting in church and things like that, and because they're very serious about these things and they want to be with somebody who is from the same denomination or what have you. But ultimately, though, we normally, and I would say that that's just one little tiny aspect of things. Now, I believe that that's really not all that important. We end up falling in love with somebody not for just one aspect of themselves. There might be a quality that we like about that person that stands out more than other qualities that they have. As an example, say that a person is extremely soft-spoken and very, very patient. Now, that's something that we might appreciate a lot because, let's say that when that person talks, just their voice alone can be very calming, and something that we just really love about them, and how extremely patient they are. And that kind of energy, in turn, we feed off of that, and that kind of makes us want to be more patient as well. And there's a lot better examples, I'm sure, but everybody has 1 or 2 things that I think stand out more so than other things, and we usually appreciate those things a little bit more. But overall, we get into a relationship with a person. We don't get into a relationship with a person because of their religion. One of the reasons why that really wouldn't make sense to do just solely for that is because, number one, you're already practicing a religion. You already have that in your life. Granted, that's something that you could share with somebody, but you cannot solely base it off of that. Number two, the reason for that is because you are really not going to sit around all day, every waking hour that you have being with them. If you're not at work, and you're and he or she is not, the other person is not at work, and you're not currently doing things that are separate, separate. When you can't actually see each other just based off of time, So anyway, what I'm getting at is that you're not going to be sitting around talking about your specific religion for 24 hours, or basically every single time that you see that person. There's a time for that, I think, and there's a time and place for everything. But ultimately, that's not really something. I would say that in a way, it's kind of not a very logical thing to do, to get with someone just based because, first of all, one of the other reasons too is because we happen to see a human being and we find that person to be very attractive, and that's sort of one of the first things that we recognize about the person, and we might think they are, if we're attracted to them, we're attracted to them. I don't really need to go into all the details about that. This is something that just sort of naturally happens, but you can also find another reason, third reason that doesn't really make any sense, is because you may very well find rather quickly, in some cases, that, okay, I find this person very attractive, and I see them to be, I appreciate very much the fact that they are from the same religion as myself, and all of that, and that's really great, and that's wonderful. But you may actually quickly find that that person drives you insane. That in fact, once you actually start to know them as a person, that there are so many things aside from the first two things that you just cannot stand. And you might actually find it way later on, but sometimes people, I think, sort of a complicated thing, and each situation is a little bit different, because you could either end up staying together for a very long time and then suddenly way down the line find out something that you just really feel that you cannot deal with. And speaking of that, I would say from the opposite side of things is that really, in terms of making a relationship work, I think first of all, you have to kind of put the religious aspect of it aside. Like I said, you fall in love with someone because of who they are as a human being, not because of their religion. And you also, I would have to say that too, that one of the things that I personally believe is that if you put in 50-50, if you have this idea about 50-50, if 50 was the max number, most of the time people use 100, but if in your mind 50 is the absolute max for you, that 50 is that's the number that you base it off of, then no problem. If both people are literally putting in the effort, the max effort, and it is 50-50, and it's both ways, and it's totally equal and all that, no problem. It could work. But personally, and I know it's just a number, and it doesn't really count. What substance is there to actually say, a certain number? But I would say that really, it's not really about 50-50, and occasionally I've been known to actually say it's really 100-100, that being the max number. But in reality, there's not a number to these things. It's just you put in the effort, not because you feel that it's your obligation, but because you want to. That's one of the things that makes relationships work. You do these things because you want to. And also, whenever you have a healthy relationship and a healthy mind, and you're very accepting and all of those things, also you have to, I think that people kind of sidetracked here a little bit. I think that people break up nowadays for very, very ridiculous and totally insignificant reasons. And unfortunately, I think that one of the things too is about it is religion is one of the things. I would say that money is another one of the things. Now, of course, I can understand why money would be one of the things, because, you know, if you're married and you're splitting finances and all that kind of stuff, and the other person is just like totally, you know, wasting your money away and behind your back, and you're going broke because the other person can't control themselves and all of that, then yeah, that could, you know, that kind of makes sense. So I guess that's not really a very good example of why people break up, but besides that point, I would say that really, there's just a lot of insignificant things, and I have personally noticed that within the past 3 years, since 2010, I've noticed that there has been a lot of issues. It's getting to the point where it's just massively difficult, number one, just to get into a relationship, because I have personally noticed that people are becoming more and more judgmental and more self-centered, and more shallow, and they're setting their standards even higher and higher and higher. And a lot of that has to do with the way that our society is changing. I think a lot of it has to do with technology. Most of us are staring at some kind of a screen all day long, whether it be a computer of sorts, whether it's a laptop or notebook or desktop, or whether you're looking at you know, your cell phone all day and the internet, and or, you know, your iPad or your iTouch, or all of these other kinds of things that have been coming out. We constantly are kind of living in a box, and life is sort of becoming, you know, where it's such a hustle and bustle for most people. It's kind of like, well, where do I have the time? And then when you do have free time, it's kind of like this thing about, everything is about friends. Must spend time with friends. Everything is about friends. And dating has now pretty much become a thing of traditionally is gone. Traditionally is kind of a thing of the past. It's sort of everything is online now. And the problem that I have noticed with online is that it's a sea of people who really are judging you based off of profile, and the first thing is that they're going to judge you off of is your pictures. And whether they admit it or not, the majority of people don't really care to read anything else about your profile. If they think that your pictures are okay, or, of course, if they think that they're good, then yeah, they most likely will read the rest of it and try to contact you. But anyway, it's such a gamble, and people are really becoming extremely judgmental. And I truly believe, and I'm not going to put every single person in a box, because I'm not going to speak for just females. In other words, I'm not going to just put all females in the same category or anything, but this goes for men also. I think that I don't want to be sexist here, but I think it probably goes a little bit more towards females, because they're the ones who, you know, ultimately they're the ones who get all the attention most of the time. I think that the idea here, from what I have really seen and you know, kind of been really looking at this stuff under a microscope for the past 3 years, is that the idea here is that people, the majority of people, especially on dating sites, kind of have this mentality without admitting it, or maybe even without knowing it, is is kind of like, I don't know what the hell I want, and I'm not going to be happy until I find it. I honestly think that that's true, just kind of looking at what's been going on. So anyway, I'll leave it on that note, and I will continue with the next part of this little series. Thank you for watching. Namaste.